Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Daily English Talk. I'm Ayla.
And I'm Jack. It's great to be here with you all again.
Jack, have you ever been at a party or a social event and someone asks you that one question that always seems to come up?
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. The question that sounds simple but can be surprisingly difficult to answer. So, what do you do?
That's the one. And that is our topic for today. We are going to help all of our listeners learn how to talk about their job, their career, and their work in English, clearly and confidently.
This is such an important topic because talking about your job is one of the most common things you do in English, whether you're making small talk, networking, or even in a job interview.
Exactly. And for English learners, it can be tricky because you need to know the right vocabulary, but you also need to know how to explain a complex job simply. By the end of this episode, you'll have all the phrases you need to answer that question with a smile.
I love that. Let's start with a little warm up. Ayla, have you ever had a moment where you struggle to explain what you do?
Oh, absolutely. When I first started working as a language coach, I used to say, I help people learn English. And people would say, oh, so you're a teacher. And I'd say, well, yes, but also no. It was always a long, confusing explanation.
I've had the same problem. When I tell people I work in content creation, they immediately think I'm a famous YouTuber. I have to quickly clarify, no, I work behind the scenes, mostly writing and editing.
That's a great example of why we need to be clear. We need to move past just the job title and talk about the responsibilities.
That's a key distinction. So let's start with the most basic answer. When someone asks, what do you do? The simplest and clearest way to answer is to state your job title.
Right. You can say, I'm a software engineer, or I'm a nurse, or I'm a marketing manager. It's direct and easy to understand.
But what if your job title is very specific or maybe a little bit confusing? Like, what if you're a senior cross-platform integration specialist?
That's a mouthful. In that case, you need to use what we call an elevator pitch. It's a short, simple explanation that you could give to someone in the time it takes to ride an elevator.
So instead of saying I'm a senior cross-platform integration specialist, what could I say?
You could say, I work in tech. I help different computer programs talk to each other. That's clear, simple, and anyone can understand it.
That's a fantastic transition. It moves from the complicated title to the simple function.
Another way to answer is to talk about the industry you work in. You could say, I work in the automotive industry, or I'm in finance, or I work in education.
That's a good strategy if you're talking to someone who might not know your specific job, but they know the general field.
Now, let's move on to the next level of conversation. Once you've given your job title, the other person will probably ask a follow-up question, like, oh, that sounds interesting. What does that involve?
This is where you talk about your responsibilities. This is where you use action verbs.
Exactly. Instead of saying, my job is to manage a team, you can say, I manage a team of 5 people. Or instead of saying, I have to write reports, you can say, I write reports every week to track our progress.
Using those strong verbs makes your explanation much more dynamic and interesting. What are some other good verbs we can use?
We can use verbs like create, design, support, analyze, and develop. For example, if you're a graphic designer, you could say, I create visual content for social media.
Or if you work in customer service, you can say, I support customers with their technical problems.
That's much clearer than just saying, I answer the phone.
Now let's talk about the company. Sometimes people are more interested in where you work than what you do. They might ask, which company do you work for?
You can simply state the name of the company, but if it's a small company that no one has heard of, you should give a quick explanation.
For example, I work for a company called Innotech. We develop mobile apps for small businesses.
Perfect. That gives the name and the function. Now, Jack, what if someone asks you about your future? That can be a difficult question for a learner.
They might ask, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Or what is your career path?
A simple way to answer is to talk about your goals. You could say, I hope to get a promotion next year, or I want to learn new skills in my field.
Or if you're looking for a change, you could say, I'm currently looking for a new opportunity in the finance sector. That's a very natural way to talk about a job search.
Now, let's talk about the most personal question. Do you like your job?
This is a great chance to use some emotional vocabulary. You could say, I really enjoy my job because I love working with people.
Or if you want to be a little more honest, you could say, it's a little challenging sometimes, but I like the people I work with. The key is to use words like challenging, rewarding, stressful, or fulfilling.
That's a great set of words. Now that we've covered the basics, let's move on to some real-life dialogue so our listeners can hear these phrases in action.
I agree. Let's listen to how this sounds in a natural conversation.
Welcome back. We're moving into the main part of our discussion, where we'll explore different ways to talk about your job, and then we'll hear some examples.
Let's start with a very common situation, talking about your daily routine. This is a great way to explain your job without just listing your responsibilities.
So instead of saying, I'm responsible for answering emails and attending meetings, you can talk about your day.
Exactly. You can use time-related phrases. For example, my day usually starts with a team meeting at 9 a.m.
And then you can use words like after that, then, or in the afternoon. For example, after that, I usually spend a few hours analyzing data.
And you can talk about the people you work with. I collaborate with the marketing team on new projects, or I report directly to the CEO.
Collaborate and report are excellent professional-sounding verbs. They make you sound very capable.
Now, let's talk about a situation where you're unemployed or between jobs. This can be a sensitive topic, and you need to know how to talk about it confidently.
When someone asks, what do you do, and you don't have a job, you should focus on what you are currently doing, not what you aren't doing.
A great phrase to use is, I'm currently between jobs and actively seeking a new role in marketing.
Or if you are taking a break to pursue a master's degree in business, you can say, I'm currently taking a career break to pursue a master's degree in business.
The key is to use positive, active language. Seeking, pursuing, taking a break, these all sound like you are in control of your situation.
Now, let's move on to our practical examples. We'll hear 3 short dialogues. The first one is a casual conversation at a social event.
Let's imagine 2 people, Sarah and Tom, are meeting for the first time. So, Tom, what do you do?
I'm a landscape architect. I design parks and public spaces.
Oh, that sounds really interesting. What's your favorite part of the job?
I really enjoy the design phase, especially when I get to choose the plants and the materials. It's very creative.
That's great. And which company do you work for?
I work for a small firm called Greenscape. We mostly focus on city projects.
That was a perfect, natural exchange. Tom used his job title, then gave a simple explanation, and then talked about what he enjoys.
Notice how Sarah's follow-up question, what's your favorite part of the job, opened the door for Tom to use more descriptive language like design phase and creative.
Now, for our second example, let's imagine a more formal situation, like a networking event, where the conversation is a little more focused on responsibilities.
Let's listen to David and Lisa. David is a project manager.
David, I hear you're a project manager. What does that involve on a daily basis?
Well, my main responsibility is to make sure our software projects are delivered on time and within budget.
That sounds challenging. What kind of projects do you handle?
I mostly manage the mobile app development team. I collaborate with the engineers and report the progress to the senior leadership.
So you're the main point of contact for the team.
Exactly. I coordinate all the different parts of the project.
David used excellent professional language there. Main responsibility, delivered on time, within budget, collaborate, report the progress. These are all great phrases for a professional setting.
And Lisa's question, what does that involve on a daily basis, is a fantastic way to ask someone to explain their job in detail. Learners should definitely use that phrase. Now for our final example in this section, let's look at a situation where someone is talking about a job they don't like very much. It's important to be honest, but still professional.
Let's listen to Maria and Ben. Maria is a data entry clerk.
So, Maria, how is your job going?
It's okay. It's a little repetitive, to be honest. I spend most of my day entering numbers into spreadsheets.
Oh, I see. What do you find challenging about it?
The most challenging part is staying focused, but I'm learning a lot about data organization, which is useful.
That's a good way to look at it. Are you planning to stay in that field?
I'm currently seeking a new opportunity where I can use my data skills in a more creative way.
Miria was very honest, but still professional. She used the word repetitive, which is a very common way to describe a boring job.
And she immediately followed up with a positive. But I'm learning a lot about data organization, which is useful. That shows she's a positive person who is still growing.
And her final line, I'm currently seeking a new opportunity, is a perfect professional way to say she's looking for a new job.
That's a great set of examples. Now that we've heard these phrases in action, let's take a moment to focus on some of the most important vocabulary we've used today. We want to make sure our listeners can use them naturally when talking about their own jobs.
Sounds great. Let's dive into the vocabulary.
Okay, Jack, let's talk about some of the key words and phrases we've used today. We want to make sure our listeners can use them naturally when talking about their own jobs.
Let's start with the phrase we used right at the beginning, job title.
Your job title is the official name of your position at your company. It's what is written on your business card. For example, marketing manager or financial analyst.
It's the short official description, but remember, the title doesn't always tell the whole story.
Exactly, which brings us to our next phrase, responsibilities.
Your responsibilities are the specific tasks and duties you are expected to perform in your job. It's what you actually do every day.
So if your job title is office assistant, your responsibilities might include answering the phone, scheduling meetings, and managing office supplies.
It's a great word to use when you want to give a more detailed explanation of your work. You can say, my main responsibilities include.
Now, let's talk about a very important verb, collaborate.
Collaborate means to work together with other people to achieve a common goal. It's a very positive word that shows you are a team player.
You wouldn't say, I work with the sales team. A more professional way to say it is, I collaborate with the sales team on new product launches.
It sounds much more active and involved.
Another great word is pursue. We used it when talking about education or a new job.
Pursue means to follow or try to achieve something over a period of time. It shows effort and determination.
So if you're going back to school, you can say, I am pursuing a degree in computer science. Or if you are looking for a new job, I am pursuing a career in the nonprofit sector.
It's a much stronger word than just looking for.
Let's look at two words that describe how you feel about your job. Challenging and rewarding.
Challenging means difficult, but in a way that helps you grow and improve. It's a positive way to talk about a hard job.
You can say, my job is very challenging, but I learn something new every day.
And rewarding means that the work gives you a good feeling or a sense of satisfaction. It's not just about the money.
For example, working with children is very rewarding because I feel like I am making a difference.
These two words are great because they show a balanced view of your job. It's not all easy, but it's worth it.
Now let's talk about the phrase between jobs.
This is a very polite and professional way to say you are currently unemployed. It suggests that it's a temporary situation and that you are actively looking for your next role.
You would never say, I am jobless. That sounds very negative. Instead, you say, I'm between jobs right now.
And finally, let's talk about career path.
Your career path is the series of jobs or roles you take over time to reach your ultimate professional goal. It's the plan for your future work life.
So, if someone asks, what is your career path? They are asking about your future plans in your profession. You can say, my career path is to move from a junior role to a senior management position.
That's a great set of 8 words and phrases. They will help our listeners sound much more confident and professional when talking about their work.
I hope our listeners will try to use them in their next conversation. Now, Ayla, we've covered a lot of ground, but we always like to end our episodes with a little challenge for our listeners.
That's right. The question of the day.
So, the question of the day, let's transition to that now. Welcome back for our final section. It's time for our question of the day.
This is a chance for you, our listeners, to practice your English by thinking about a real-life situation and forming a complete answer.
And remember, practicing your English doesn't just mean speaking, it also means thinking in English and organizing your thoughts.
Exactly. So today's question is, if you could have any job in the world, what would it be and why?
That's a fun question. It allows you to use your imagination and practice explaining your reasons.
And answering a question like this helps you practice using conditional language like if I could, and giving clear explanations using because.
So, let me give you an answer example that you could use as a model. I might say, if I could have any job in the world, I would be a travel photographer. I would choose this because I love exploring new places and I enjoy capturing beautiful moments with my camera.
That's a perfect answer, Jack. It's clear, it uses good vocabulary like exploring and capturing, and it gives 2 strong reasons.
And here's another example, maybe a little more focused on impact. If I could have any job, I would be a climate change researcher. I would choose this because I believe it is the most important problem facing the world today, and I want to collaborate with scientists to find solutions.
Another excellent model. Notice how the second example used the word collaborate that we just learned. It's all about putting the new vocabulary into practice.
So, listeners, think about your answer. You can write it down or you can say it out loud to yourself. The important thing is to try to form a complete sentence and give a clear reason.
And if you're feeling brave, you can share your answer in the comments section on our website or on our social media. We love reading your responses.
We really do. And that brings us to the end of our episode on how to talk about your job.
We hope that by breaking down the conversation into simple steps, from your job title to your responsibilities and your future goals, we've made this common topic feel a lot less intimidating.
Remember, the key is to be clear, use action verbs, and always focus on what you do, not just what you are.
That's right. Confidence is the best tool you can have in any conversation. Practice the phrases we shared today, and you'll be ready to impress the next person who asks, so, what do you do?
Thank you so much for joining us for Daily English Talk.
We'll be back next time with another topic to help you build your English confidence. Until then, keep practicing.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.